Hello there, it's January 2nd, 2011. I wanted to talk a bit today about chemtrails. And that is how the term chemtrail is a misnomer in my personal opinion, okay? And now the reason I think it's a misnomer is because you will note that most of your scientific reports, okay, they're not referred to as chemtrails. In fact, chemtrails aren't even mentioned at all in relation to impact on atmosphere, okay? Typically, what you will notice is the term that is used, okay, is aerosol. And aerosol spraying is the correct term for what has been coming out of jet aircraft, okay, all across the United States, Canada, and Europe, and a good portion of all NATO countries is aerosol spraying. Now, what I found very, very interesting is that aerosol spraying of such massive amounts is not even mentioned, okay, in what was, like, for example, I'm going to put a link for you on the bottom for a report to Congress called the Atmospheric Aerosol Properties and Climate Impact Report. Yet, nothing is mentioned about aircraft aerosoling, which has been ongoing. We all know it. We've been observing, we've been photographing, we've been documenting. You go on YouTube and just type in chemtrails, which again, in my opinion, is a misnomer, and you come up with thousands of videos all around NATO countries, okay? You can put up a video and you could show how you were hit really hard with aerosol spraying, and people will comment, we got hit too, we got hit too, we got hit too, all around the country. So this is something that is not just a small area, but huge geographic areas that are being aerosol sprayed. Now, this particular document, okay, to Congress was prepared and presented, okay, by a huge group of scientists. But basically, excuse me, I had to just close the door for a minute. Basically, your coordinating lead director was Mian Chin, NASA, Goddard Space Flight Center, and lead contributing authors were Ralph A. Kahn, Lorraine A. Remmer, Hong Bin Yu, NASA, David Rind of NASA, Graham Feingold of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, Patricia Quinn of the same, Stephen E. Schwartz, and David Streets and Philip DeCola and Rangasai Hathore of NASA. Now, this particular document, or should I say report to Congress, was signed by Carlos M. Gutierrez, Secretary of Commerce, Chair Committee on Climate Change, Science and Technology Integration, Samuel W. Bodman, Secretary of Energy, Vice Chairman, Committee on Climate Change, Science and Technology, John H. Marburger III, Director of Office of Science and Technology Policy, Executive Director, Committee on Climate Change, Science and Technology Integration. So I just find the term climate change, science, and technology integration to be fascinating terms. But what I wanted to go with on this is that, reading this particular report to Congress, we all know Congress is penchant for not reading bills and reading things or fully understanding what they're being told. I have to say that, this report is chock full of terminology and abbreviations that, our standard operating procedure, obviously, for people within this field. But it takes some time to get a grasp of the different abbreviations and different terminology. But what I found very, very fascinating is just to cut right to the chase here, okay, is that no mention in this report was made, period, of the massive aerosoling program that has been ongoing in the skies, okay, which are obviously much more apparent than any greenhouse gas or industrial process or emissions from vehicles or from cows or from human beings exhaling carbon, okay? Now, aerosol can be natural. I mean, it could be from a forest fire. It could be from, sea salt off the ocean. The ocean constantly in flux. Off the ice, off the caps of ocean waves. Sea salt being splashed up into the air, creating aerosol of salts. Or it could be, forest fire created by carelessness on mankind, or aerosol can be all greenhouse gases, or it can be aerosol spraying from a massive aerosol spraying campaign via jets, which is what we've noted for many years now, and observed and documented and photographed. Now I'm going to cut right to the chase, okay? Because we all know that there's been a big apparent change in weather patterns. People are getting very, very concerned. We also know that there's been a lot of hype about 2012, about, how there's going to be massive changes and, all the fear that's been created around the 2012, or what I would like to say, possibly even false optimism. On the other extreme, that people are just going to kind of discount a lot of things because it's all going to turn out just fine and dandy, and we're all, it's just part of the old New Age thing, okay? But let's just cut right to the chase. Right in their own report here, okay, it says right here under aerosol forcing of climate that they have uncertainty in assessing the total anthropogenic greenhouse gas and aerosol impacts on climate. Now, the anthropogenic is man-made aerosols versus aerosol impacts on climate, which again could include natural or chemtrailing, okay? The massive program that we've all been witnessing in our skies, which seems to me to be a major omission in this report to Congress. Now, to cut to the chase again, it says no proven methods exist for measuring the anthropogenic component of observed aerosols over broad geographic regions, and there's uncertainty of the aerosol component. Also, difficult to distinguish aerosol from meteorological effects, and the aerosol effects on clouds is complicated. It has been known for quite some time, quote, aerosols when concentrated near the surface have been recognized as affecting pulmonary functions and other aspects of human health, okay? Also, obviously it impacts reflectivity from space. A lot of the light is scattered. 90% of light that hits particles that are suspended in the atmosphere are scattered. Impacts cloud brightness. Basically creates a net cooling effect. Okay, that is very clear in this report, that aerosol definitely will have a net cooling impact. That there's a change in precipitation, meaning rainfall, impacts cloud brightness, and also redistributes radiant and latent heat within the atmosphere and alters atmospheric circulation patterns and the water cycle, including precipitation patterns. Now, what I'd like to do, okay, real quick, is I'm just going to go to page 12 of this report to Congress, and I'll just read verbatim what it says in a particular, just one paragraph, basically. I just have to get to page 12 here, if you'll just you know, there's a lot to this report, obviously. And just to highlight again, I find it very, very, very concerning. And I do understand that we're talking national security. We're talking, there's a lot of military applications to what's been going on up there. You know, we all know the Air Force wants to own the weather. You know, that's been written and debunked and basically declassified, I should say. You know, that for national security reasons, well, a lot of things can't be discussed. All right, I'm just about to page 12 here. Bear with me a second. Here we go. We're on page 12. The primary direct effect of aerosols is a brightening of the planet when viewed from space. As much of Earth's surface is dark ocean, and much aerosols scatter more than 90% of the visible light reaching them. Okay, I like to add that the land is also dark and, you know, definitely absorbs energy from space. Okay, not just water, but soil. So I don't know why that wasn't indicated here in this report, but again, what do I know? You know, I'm just an average Joe here. The primary indirect effects of aerosols on cloud include an increase in cloud brightness, change in precipitation, and possibly an increase in lifetime, meaning the cloud cover will last longer. Thus, the overall net impact of aerosols is an enhancement of Earth's reflectance. This reduces the sunlight reaching Earth's surface, which we all know because sometimes we feel like that they're trying to deny us sunlight. Producing a net climatic cooling effect. Well, no kidding. I mean, really. I mean, if the sun isn't shining on us, it's going to be definitely cooler. As well as the redistribution of the radiant and latent heat energy deposited in the atmosphere. These effects can alter atmospheric, this is the key phrase, these effects can alter atmospheric circulation and water cycle, including precipitation patterns on a variety of length and time scales. Okay? So several variables are used to quantify the impact aerosols have on Earth energy balance, and these are helpful in describing current understanding and assessing possible future steps. Okay? So basically, what I find very, very fascinating in this report, again, is that no mention is made of the massive campaign of aerosol spraying from aircraft known as chemtrails. Many of us around the country, around the world, have been photographing, observing, documenting, discussing the obvious injection into our atmosphere of particles. Okay? It seems to be a given fact that aluminum, barium, strontium, and other metals are being sprayed into our atmosphere in nanoparticle form in massive quantities, especially aluminum, okay, for its reflectivity, obviously. We have noticed GEO-engineered clouds, a variety of different colors, which indicates a variety of different compounds. We have noticed scalar and electromagnetic manipulations in the atmosphere, radiation shielding of the sun, where the spray literally interacts and creates, you can literally see the massive shield in front of the sun, and many have thought that, well, are they trying to hide something up there? Or are they trying to block the beneficial rays, like, you know, that would give life beneficial cosmic energy, or vitamin D? Or is it just this global warming thing, which most seem to think is a fraud being perpetrated for the purpose of a global government? So my question is, what's going on here? And why is it that all of this aerosol spraying that we've all seen in our atmosphere is not mentioned in a report to Congress? Okay? And that when the discussion of basically aerosol climate forcing and aerosol radiant forcing and direct radiative forcing is not mentioned, that these aerosol components being injected in massive quantities have not even been mentioned, okay, in public reports. So that is, but in the meantime, we are seeing in our climate huge changes, which will impact food production, which is impacting populations, which is creating, drought in areas and massive floodings and downpours in other areas, mudslides, huge insurance losses. Just recently, Australia comes to mind, where, regions that had a lot of drought recently had huge downpours and were flooded out. Now, is this quote 2012 climate, or global change due to, all the fear that's been put out there via, pole shifts and crustal shifts and all the other, fear mongering. That you can make a list a mile long if you've been reading the internet of things, that cataclysms that could be occurring. But it seems to me that redistribution of heat, altering atmospheric circulation and water cycles, and precipitation patterns all will have a huge impact on human beings, where they live, the impact on food production, and of course, the most recent fear-mongering that we've been getting on the internet in massive amounts is the term famine, whether it's real or imagined, or maybe it's manufactured or created. And so I wanted to discuss this with you folks. I'll leave the link for this particular report. It's not easy reading, but basically you have to ask yourself is, when discussing aerosols and making a report to Congress, which is basically our elected officials, why is it that chemtrail aerosoling is not mentioned in this report, and that they make it quite clear that when you read their works or even listen to their testimonies, that they really aren't certain about the impacts, okay? Or can they really fully understand or measure, okay, the impacts of aerosols? But yet it's being done. So thanks for listening. Go to the link below and check it out. Take care.